last topic. And then it's time for some Super Bowl party. Some wicked hardcore Boston Patriots. Last topic I wanted to talk about was remakes. This kind of popped into my mind that recently I was playing. I've been accumulating a collection across a whole bunch of consoles, and I'd never played the PlayStation Portable, the PSP version of some of these Final Fantasy remakes that came out. Now, I've said numerous times in the show that Final Fantasy IV, or what was known as 2 on the Super Nintendo, is my favorite Final Fantasy game of all time. There's been remakes of that. There was I think, was the PSP remake before or after the DS one that was in 3D? I don't know, but I know that there was a DS one that did with 3D polygons and added voice, which was okay, but I mean, it changed the characters and made them almost like bobbleheads with huge heads and little, I don't know, it was just weird. So the game was kind of the same, but the whole thing in 3D was different. I love the pixel art. I love the music. I love the way the game played. And then I found this, I was doing a search anyway on what's the definitive or the best version of each of these games. Because some of the remakes I know have been crap. Like they remade 6 on the iPhone and Android where they completely redid the pixel art and made it like hand drawing, so it's almost like they kept the frames of animation but they took out all the pixelation, and it just looks stupid, and I hated it. But then I saw that they remade 4. They kept pixel art, but they remade all the pixel art from the ground up, so it was detailed, it was in widescreen. The magic and effects were like done with extra processing, a little bit of 3D graphics, but you couldn't tell it was 3D graphics. It wasn't giant pixelated textures. It was really cool, and I fucking loved it. Like that's what I would call the definitive version of that game. And I started thinking about, well, as far as remakes go, because it seems like they're always got a remake of the remake of Tomb Raider or the remake this, that, and the other. What are some of your favorite or worst remakes that you guys can think of? What could we brainstorm?
Well, I can start with, this is actually one that's not out there yet, but it's kind of one that I'm looking forward to, and that's the remake that they're doing of 7, Final Fantasy 7, which, and that is by far like my favorite Final Fantasy game.
2030, baby.
But it has, yeah, I know, but it has aged so horribly over the years.
Yeah, I couldn't get into it.
Yeah, I know, and which is really a shame because, I mean, you have like some of the most compelling characters in the entire franchise in that game.
Yeah.
And you've seen it like with some of the material that they've come out with
polygons age worse than pixels.
Yeah. But even though the game itself has not aged, you can still see the carry forward of that as far as they had Crisis Core on the PSP, which again Final Fantasy VII. You had Dirge of Cerberus on the PS2, which was again just another Final Fantasy VII story.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen Advent Children, the game or the movie, the CGI movie that they made on this. This is the same character showing up in Dissidia. I mean, this is a very prominent game, and the remake has been in the works for a good long time. So
it will have a long time to go. Well, they're going to do that one in chapters too. Apparently,
yeah. Apparently, if with some of the stuff that they've shown as far as the design, I mean, they've really upscaled this game to the point where it really needs to be.
Or else we're going to have to wait till 2030 for the game.
Yeah, because it's so big, so expansive. There's so much in there, and if they're going to be adding that level of detail just based off what I've seen on the images they have right now, I can see why this would take so long.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, as far as remakes go, that's one that I know myself and a lot of other people have been clamoring for a long time, and I'm excited to kind of see where they're going to be taking it. So that's my big one.
Yeah, that's cool. Matt, can you think of any remakes you loved or hated?
I'm not a hardcore gamer to the point you guys are.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't know if something's a remake or not, to be honest with you.
No, that's cool.
I mean, unless it said remake.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm trying to think of games for multiple platforms, and I mean, I know I talk about it all the time.
Well, like Super Mario All-Stars. Remember Super Mario All-Stars in the Super Nintendo? They took Mario 1, 2, and 3 in the Lost Levels, and they put them on a Super Nintendo cart and added 16-bit graphics. And so, I mean, that was huge at the time. Everybody wanted that game. That was big. Mm-hmm. But, like, and sometimes that gets a little confusing because there's a lot of HD remasters out. I know that with the 360, with the 360 and the PlayStation 3, being high-def consoles, they were also pushing the limitation of what the graphical capability of the systems could be that would actually get you a 720 or even a 1080 resolution. The frame rates dropped. So with the 4 and the Xbox One coming out, there have been lots of games that they have done an HD remaster, even though they were out, like the Uncharted games were already in HD, but they did an HD remaster for the 4. Which I can see why they did it, because the 4's got a lot more horsepower. It's playing the game in 60 frames a second. They don't stutter. The textures look better. So that was really cool. Would you call that an actual remake?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's going to come down to, like, we got to back up and kind of, when we say remake, are we talking about like a remaster of the original game, or are we talking about where the game still holds true to its original element, but there are some...
Well, what would you consider Super Mario All-Stars?
Oh.
See what I mean? It gets gray.
Yeah. So,
I mean, that's just it. I mean, is it the same game? It's just been redone.
Yeah.
Same story, same game, just been redone, or
Yep.
is this the continuation over time? Because it's like, what was it, Shinobi on the NES?
We could consider those
and
too.
then they made it for the Xbox or the PS2.
No, yeah, I mean, you're right. It's a big spectrum with one that's just the game doesn't change and let's just update for the most part the visuals, right?
Yeah.
And then there's other ones that, like, let's take an old premise and let's reboot it. I'm considering both of those things. Let's call it. So, like, yeah, they remade Doom.
Yeah.
Doom was awesome.
Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah.
Ninja
Yes.
Gaiden.
Yep.
Yeah.
Doom was a phenomenon last year. That was
Mm-hmm.
I was still blown away by that. That made you the same things that you loved about the original Doom. They went all in and gory. And did you play the new Doom last year?
I haven't played the
Oh
new Doom.
man,
no.
that was awesome.
I remember the old Doom. It used to be good.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Tomb Raider. They just restarted that again with kind of some Uncharted elements, but different enough that it was great. I've only played through like half of the. I haven't played the newest one, but which is. What was? I mean, there was Tomb Raider, and then what was it? Rise of the Tomb Raider was after that. Was that the sequel?
I don't remember.
Whatever was the first one that was the remaster from a couple years ago. Was free.
Kid
I think
Icarus for the DS.
What was? Huh?
Actually, Kid Icarus for the DS.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Actually,
Was that
that's
good?
really good.
Was it?
It's got really good reviews.
I
Did you play it, Dan?
Actually, no, I just saw images, but yeah, it looked amazing. it was always on my, well, if I ever got a DS, that was going to be like my top 3.
If my son ever let his go, I'd probably play.
Just on the topic of Final Fantasy, you've played tons of You're probably the biggest Final Fantasy fan in here. Which would you say are the definitive versions for you?
I loved the, this is actually the one that you had, but whoops. Yeah, that's right. We're saved. We're safe.
I'm gonna say even if it's spilled, the show's almost over. Whatever.
It's by the iPhone, so that's the show I'm
We've
not
already
concerned
lost
about.
all our viewers.
But the remake that they did of 4, I thought that was
on the
very
PSP.
clean. Yeah, on the PSP was very clean. As well as, and I'm going through right now, but I had this originally when I got the PSP, but the original Final Fantasy 1, very
On Nintendo.
From
The
the
NES?
Nintendo, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the remake that they did for the PSP was very impressive. A lot of that had to do with the fact that the original game was so broken as far as mechanics,
Yeah.
and that they were able to actually just clean it up so much so that it's actually working as intended. That's been really impressive. As far as the remakes go, I'm looking forward to actually playing the rest of the DS ones.
What like?
I'm not Advance.
The advanced
ones,
like
yeah.
with 5 and
Yes, yeah, particularly 5. That's supposed to be like a very solid game.
Yeah.
and I hadn't played the original since like college, so I'm trying to remember.
I'm trying to think. The only ones I've actually played are 1 Super Nintendo, 2, so I'm gonna go by the actual numbers that they went from Japan. 1, 4, 6,
8?
little bit of 7. No, I never played 8 or 9. I mean, I've got them now, and then I played 10. Which I know 10 gets a lot of hate. I like 10. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, no, I mean visually it was a really great game. I
God,
think
the summons and stuff.
Yeah, the incorporation of the summoning mechanic and how they made it more than just like, well, here's just like an animation for just another attack. Like, no, this is actually a playable character.
Yeah.
That was pretty innovative. I like that. The sphere system I was not really behind as far as leveling up.
Well, for a guy that likes his characters to stay in place and he gets to pick out who fights who, I was totally fine with the ridiculous, awesome cinematic video that you get to watch. Well, I guess it's not video, it's the stuff's rendered in 3D, but the summoning of the monsters was really awesome in that game too. But I don't know, can you guys think of any other remakes or stuff that they've rebooted that have been awesome or really off the mark,
or any one that you'd like to see?
Yeah, that's true
That's
too.
what I was trying to think of is some of them that I'd like to see.
Well, if we go, did they remake Half-Life? I'm trying to remember.
I think so.
Oh, there's multiple Half-Life games.
Yeah, I mean, like
There's
the
Half-Life
like
just
the,
1 and
the
2,
original,
right?
The
They
original.
might have.
Well, they
Yeah.
did the original, but I'm trying to remember if they did a remaster or a remake of that one.
It feels like they're making another one
Oh yeah. Okay.
right now. Maybe not, but I think there was rumored or something. I think I
I
saw
think
somewhere
people
where
have
they were
wanted it for a
making
long time
Half-Life.
from some of the journalists that I remember hearing and reading and hearing podcasts about. They said you'll never see another Half-Life game. The audience is too big, and the companies that did it are too big and doing other things too. So who knows? Maybe if they do another Orange Box down the future. God, I was just thinking of one now. I forgot what it was. They just did the Skyrim remaster in HD, which has been selling apparently pretty well. Did you guys get into Skyrim much?
No.
I have it on the PS3.
Is it?
I don't have the time to dedicate to
I
it.
was gonna say I just don't have the
That's the
time
thing.
for this
It's a
big
journey.
stuff. Like unless it's a Zelda game, if it's something that or at some point I'm gonna try your Final Fantasy 15 or maybe get into that. When it takes that much time, I'm just like I don't have
The days.
the days or even the really desire to want to jump into that.
Well, I kind of sell that a little differently in that I really try to get the most out of the game. You could very easily just kind of play through the actual story for what it is without trying to check every nook and cranny for
Right.
just extra content.
Because I still like, I actually thought about it last week. Going back, I loved Skyward Sword on Zelda. I know that it uses the motion controls and stuff like that, but I just love the game. The polish that they put on it, the way it ties, it's like, on the chronology of Zelda games, it's actually the first one. It's the one where you find out why does Ganon keep coming back, why is Link and Zelda in so many games, it goes in all that. I just love that. I love that game. I love Twilight Princess. I know that gets a lot of hate. Oh, the waggle controls. We'll play the GameCube version then with the buttons. Yeah. Well, it's just Ocarina of Time, but, a little bit better graphics on a newer system. I loved it, though.
Yeah.
I love that game.
Yeah.
They remade Ocarina of Time on the 3DS. But I think we got enough fishing out of that in college. Yeah. I don't know if I want to...
Sitting on the
Well, and we don't know. Maybe the next one will have fishing as well.
Well,
I'm trying to think if there's any games. Like, I'd like to see an updated version of Punch-Out,
oh yeah.
especially with the Switch.
Well, they did come out with the Wii Punch-Out. I mean, they did do a remake, or whatever you want to call it, a reboot for the Wii. Where you remember you could use
entertaining.
It was awesome actually. I mean, you could play it the old school way with just the left punch, right punch. I mean, the exact same controls, or you could do motion controls if you want to. They had King Hippo. You were Little Mac with the same coach. We laughed.
Flamenco.
Yeah, they had that, and it was an awesome remake. That's a great example of a really good remake. I don't know. I doubt they do it right anytime soon. That would take away from that new ARMS game I'm sure they want to sell. But that was a really good one.
Yeah.
But like Castlevania, I know that they remade Metroid to Metroid Prime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
But which was a newer platform one.
I remember when that's a good example. I mean, I know that we're getting kind of the gray areas. Are you talking sequels? Are you talking redone? I don't know.
Yeah.
We're just talking about reinventing. Fuck you. It's our show.
We're going down the rabbit hole, people. Enjoy the ride.
I'll never forget when Metroid Prime was announced, and I was thinking, it's going to be a first-person shooter. Are you serious? And then you find out you're giving it to an American developer, Retro Studios in Texas. Are you fucking kidding me? And then the game came out, and it was goddamn awesome. And it got Game of the Year in several publications, including Nintendo Power and I think Electronic Gaming Monthly. I remember having like John Glenn, and I think that was before we lived together. It was after the fraternity, but before we lived together in Des Moines. But I remember I would have people watching that game; they would just be enamored by it because they did it perfect. It wasn't a first-person shooter; it was a first-person adventure game, and I was amazing that an American developer was able to do that. 2 and 3, I don't think were as good as 1, but I'd still play Metroid Prime again in a heartbeat because that game was awesome. Yeah, that was really good. That's a good one.
Yeah.
What else?
I would like.
Conker's Bad Fur Day needs to be redone.
That would be awesome.
They did redo that for Xbox.
In the PC world we live in, I don't know that it would ever happen.
Yeah.
There was some
Why?
some shade
some of the
thrown in that
content
game.
well, yeah. I guess because at
The
the time,
teddies.
If they made it for Nintendo 64, you really don't think it would be acceptable on the PC? There's no way that.
I think Nintendo gets a pass because they're in Japan.
Yeah, but Nintendo's the most family-oriented. That was the so weird out of left field game. Remember that?
Out. Look at Punch-Out. You think they could make Punch-Out with those exact same things?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a. It's like.
That's true.
Let's stir the pot of stereotypes.
The overt racism.
Yeah, but I think there's a world of difference between Punch-Out and Conker's Bad Fur Day, when he's trying to flirt with the flower with big tits, and then you're fighting a giant shit monster that's saying the word shit. I think that's kind of a big, from Piston Honda's eyebrows waggling around. Yeah, but they remade that for either the 360, I think it was, and added, new models and new, his tail actually looked like fur and stuff. But they did remake that for the for Xbox. That'll never come to PlayStation because, of course, Microsoft bought Rare. So, and the whole team that was a member of the original Rare that we liked, that made like Killer Instinct and Donkey Kong and Conker's Bad Fur Day. Those are none of the people that work at Rare now. That's a good one.
Yeah. I'd like to see him redo the Space Quest and King's Quest series.
I was thinking about that a couple weeks ago.
It was, yeah. I mean, because I know, especially because of that visual gags and.
Those were so
those
fucking funny.
Those were the killer part of that game, and the fact that it just seems like they're ripe for them.
You know what pains me to say is, if those games were going to be remade, first of all, they were designed with the PC and the mouse.
Yeah.
So if you translating that to a controller works like shit. I mean, they even tried King's Quest V on the NES, and it was like crap. So if you're going to have that interface, you either got to use the PC with the mouse, or I hate to say it, but that thing would thrive on an iPad.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I mean, playing King's Quest 1 through 7 and Space Quest 1 through 6. Oh my God, that is just. They also did what was that, Return to Monkey Island or whatever it was called. That was a huge one. What was the other one that Lucasfilm made? The guy on the motorcycle, Full Throttle.
Oh, okay.
More point and click adventure games. I now Return to Monkey Island. I think that's what it was called. I know it was something Monkey Island or Adventures of Monkey Island that Lucasfilm did, which is the same kind of thing. Walk around, point, find stuff. That they did port to iOS, and I'm sure it's on Android too. And I can't imagine. Well, maybe it's all the licensing rights. Sierra, which that company has just been through hell and high water.
They're still around?
Yeah. Well, I don't even know who has the rights to that stuff. But I would love to see that stuff on a portable. Oh, that would be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
That's a really good idea. Well, can you guys think of anything else? You know what they really need to
tons
redo?
Of games out there.
They need to do. We need to redo Mario for a change.
Yeah, try something new.
We never get new Mario games.
Maybe put them in a 3D
Well, I was
environment.
just thinking like Baldur's Gate, like that. I know it went into Neverwinter Nights, but something like that, or something like I played Master of Orion, a lot of strategy games.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know how it would port over to the consoles, but some of those strategy-based games, I think even on a phone, like you guys are talking about, like I don't know why those haven't been ported over to the phone.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
It usually comes down to licensing and or cost to return ratio. You know what I mean? Like how well known is it? How much advertising is going to take to get out there?
Well,
to
a
get
game like Civilization or the original version of World of Warcraft.
I can't believe that we
Or
don't
Warcraft,
have.
I guess.
Yeah.
We don't have. I remember when the iPad first came out. That was what was going through my mind. This is perfect for like. Not World of Warcraft, but like StarCraft, Warcraft 3,
Warcraft.
Total Annihilation, StarCraft.
Civilization.
This is perfect for that. Why hasn't the only games like that have made their way have been these freemium crap game? I know that some of you guys like the Clash of Clans stuff that is kind of the same, but wait and let's do the dopamine levels. Wait until they need more. Remind them, play this game again. I want to play a fucking game like. I would love to play Total Annihilation on this stuff. Now, maybe, I don't know if the iPad's not big enough. Maybe you need to get into bigger scales. But can you imagine, like, if this table right here was all touchscreen and you're playing, like, StarCraft on this and just navigating stuff with your hands? Oh, my God. That'd be fucking awesome. That's, like, almost what it was designed to do, but we just had to settle for a mouse and a cursor on the screen because that was the technology available. And no one has done this to the level that I would want to see other than these freemium games. I mean, Transformers even has one. What's called Earth Wars, which, it's cool, but I don't want to play this game where I got to do all your things. Now, wait, you can buy more coins so that you can do this. And I want to play a full-fledged game, and I know that mobile has not been the best environment for that. Who knows? Maybe the Switch will. Well, the screen's not really big, though. I don't know.
Nope.
That's cool. Well, can you guys think of anything else? Should we call it there?
Yeah.
I think we
call it.
covered every single possibility.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Fractured Focus, episode number 11, pre-Super Bowl edition. The show we obsess about everything from geek culture to nerd news, along with random topics for discussion. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share with your friends as we post a topic of the show each day of the week, Monday through Thursday, and try to entertain you with our semi-witty banter and our incessant rambling. Should I say go Pats? Because I'm not really rooting for the Pats. I just don't
know.
No, you
like
can say go Atlanta.
I'm not going to say go Atlanta.
And your Super Bowl 51 winners, the Atlanta Falcons.
This is, you know what's cool about this? This shit's going to be up there forever. So this will be great next week when we do the show. And I'm just going to actually put you in a bubble down here that keeps replaying that over and over and over and over. And then a giant fucking dunce camp loser. I don't know, whatever. We'll come up with something.
No, it's like that Simpsons episode where they just they recorded it, but then you could tell later on they added whoever won the game.
They edit out the voice, doesn't even sound. So make sure you listen to Mr. Black. Cool.
Oh, yeah.
Have fun. Be safe. Watch the Super Bowl, everybody. Let's rock this out. Until next time.